Good evening, everybody. What is it? It's April 3rd already, and welcome to RVing in New England. And I'm going to get right to John tonight because we have a ton of stuff to talk about. And here he comes. Hey, John, how you doing?
Bob, I'm doing great. I got to give a special shout out to my RVing daughter, Chrissy. It's her 35th birthday today. I can't believe my baby is 35 years old.
Yeah.
So she loves RVing. And I also want to say hello to two other people that I met tonight at a business expo in Westboro. Eleanor and her colleague from Chris Provost's office, who are both looking for new RVs. They saw my RVing in New England shirt on, and they said, we're looking for new RVs. I said, listen tonight, and number one, we'll say hello to you, and then we'll later on talk to a couple of dealers to send material to you. Everybody comes up to you today. If you wear an RVing shirt, everybody comes up to you and says, hey, you know, I know somebody who does this or that or whatever, but
yep.
Great day.
Coffee shop, ice cream parlor, they get you every place that you go.
Busy day.
We have got an incredibly busy weekend. Besides the great show tonight with Susan Carpenter, we certainly want to get to her quickly, but this weekend we have the Vacation Land RV and Camping Show up in Auburn, Maine. It's the last consumer RV show of the season, and two of our great dealers are exhibiting up there. Lee's Family Trailer Sales will have an incredible display of grand design product, and Seacoast RVs will be exhibiting up there. If you've been on the Facebook page this week, you've noticed that we started our RVing in New England, and our April is RV month in New England videos. And John, you did quite a few, and you did 3 more today?
Yeah, we did 3 more today. We visited Tony at Crowley RV in Bristol, and he told us to tell people that if they've got a road trek, Crowley will service road treks. There's a lot of dealers that are saying we're not even going to service them, but Crowley will service road treks. They also have Winnebagos down there. And then I was down at Hemlock Hill and talked to Jesse, and you know, that video's up there. We did a great video with a Salem travel trailer that was just absolutely amazing. And then we visited with Nick at our Unlimited RVs in Connecticut as well. And he's got a bunch of RVs this weekend going down to the NASCAR race in Bristol, Tennessee. And
yeah, he's grown quite a bit since he joined us out of the company. He's doing great down there.
All excited.
Yep. Okay. And this week also is the start of our first of 9 weeks of contest. Look further down on our Facebook page and you see the contest entry form. This week's contest sponsored by Forest Marine and RV, and we'll get to them a little bit later on. You win a $100 gift certificate in the parts and accessory store, or you can use it towards service. Next week's contest will be sponsored by Cold Springs RV, so I'll do a video with them on Monday. And Cold Springs has their RV after show this weekend. They're extending all the show pricing from the New Hampshire show last weekend at their lot up in Weir, New Hampshire. And Cold Springs again, 3 in a row. Cold Springs Camp Resort is celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, and they're looking for a lot of summer help. We posted those job postings earlier today. Yeah. And Brian and Lisa at Two Feathers Restoration have a bunch of classes coming up in April and May. We'll be posting the first one is April 13th to 14th on RV restorations. But we'll post stuff for Two Feathers on that. And I just got it just under the wire tonight. I got a note from Meckelson RV and Sales and Rentals up in East Montpelier, Vermont, and they have an open house this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we are jammed full of stuff to do. So with that, unless you get something you want to add, we will bring Susan in. What you got?
Yeah, no, it's just a couple open houses the last few weeks, and you know what? People are flocking to these, and I think like April 1st is kind of like when the floodgates open, because mentally it's the end of winter. But you know, last Saturday it was 2 Saturdays ago when we were going to Hemlock Hill, it was a snowstorm. And then last Saturday when we were going down to Russo's, it was 68 degrees. And you know what? In New England, if you get a 60-degree day, you're leaving and you're going out. And I'm sure Susan will tell you the same thing happens in Elkhart. Once the good weather hits from that winter belt states.
We did a video. I did a video with Forest Marine the other day and had to wait almost 40 minutes before I could get Derek and Julie to slow down long enough because they had so many customers on the lot. And this was like, middle of the week, and it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
Well, we should say about Forest Marine, it's the only facility that I know in North America that can sell you an RV and a lottery ticket at the same place.
That's right. I posted those pictures. Let's bring our guest tonight, Susan Carpenter. And there you are. Susan, welcome to RVing in New England. We're delighted to have you. And I know you've had a busy day on the road too.
Yep. Thank you very much for having me. Yep. Seeing 7 dealers today in the great state of Oklahoma.
Susan,
is that all they've got? 7 dealers. Is that all they've got in Oklahoma? Is 7 dealers?
It's all I could get to in the time I had.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself before you tell us about the RV Women's Alliance. We've already got 9 people jumping on. We'll introduce them in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about Susan and how you get into this business and what you bring to it.
Okay. Well, I've been in this industry. I hate to admit it because I'm only 29, but I've been in this industry for about 32 years now. I was somewhat born into the industry. My father started off in it, so you could say it was a family affair. And what I'm doing right now is I work for a company called CPG, Creative Products Group, and Global Link Distributing out of Elkhart, Indiana. And we sell the greatest locks on world called the Global Pro Series. I had to give that plug there. And I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Before that, I owned a company called JR Products. And so here it leads me to RVWA, being 35 years or 32 years in the industry. We decided to form this group.
It was about time. What took you so
long? We can't use the term "you've come a long way."
No,
like a cigarette, because we could, but that's probably the whole reason for the group. Susan.
Well, but we have, with windshield time this week and thinking about this, we really have come a long way. When you think about it, we first started off at the beginning of time, probably the last 100 years, even last 50 years, we have come a long way. We're not there yet, but I think we will get there.
Well, Susan, certainly the days of the woman's involvement in the RV industry as picking out the color of the wallpaper and upholstery is beyond us. And let's face it, there are women that buy their own RVs, but are intricately involved in the, from the consumer side now I'm talking, in the buying process. And many times they're out earning the husband, so their involvement in it is mandatory for them to get credit. So the days of I'll do the negotiating, honey, and when it comes time to picking out the color of the upholstery, you can come in. Those days are over.
Right.
Thankfully, yeah.
Hey, they really are.
Let me shoot down here and just let you know who's on here. Kimberly Kunfer is on from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Maybe she's a member of your fan club. She doesn't normally join us, but Kimberly, thank you for joining us tonight. Adam Laharisher is on from North Haven, Connecticut. Linda Maylott is on from Maine, and Linda is one of our leading women in New England RV community. Linda's
former president, right? Former president
of NERVDA and former owner of Seacoast RVs up in Maine. I'm sure they probably sold some of your products. Welcome, Linda. I just need to know if it's red or white tonight. That's all I need to know from Linda.
Bob, stop whining.
That's wine. Well, she went out to wine country a couple of months ago, and she must have brought back a 18-wheeler full of wine because she's been testing all these new wines and posting them up. So Scott's on from Marshville. Jerry Plant from Major's RV Service Center in Cape Cod. And I'll bet you know that, and I'll bet David Major and the guys down there knew your dad, Susan, because they are big service center for us there. 2 gals in the Boston Brood, Michelle and Laurie, who do our Facebook consulting, and I guess the brains behind the social media for Rolling on TV are with us tonight also. So Susan, tell us how the idea came about for the RV Women's Alliance.
So it really kind of was organically done. Friends of mine Chris Fanning and Liz Crawford from RVIA invited me out to dinner one night. And so we all met and sat down and we were having dinner, and they said, why don't we form a women's group in the RV industry? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. I think that would be a good idea. And I said, I would help.
Run it.
So the rest is history. So we decided to do that. Thought it would be a good idea. Let's see, let's just put some feelers out there, see how it goes. And so we then decided we would just have a couple women get together during RVDA. And a group of us got together and talked it over, came up with a name for it, and said, well, let's do something, and let's do a launch party at RVX in Salt Lake City. So we were like, okay, great. So my VP, which is Jordan Foose, she is absolutely amazing. She went out and started fundraising for us. And through that, we've got quite a few sponsors. If you don't mind, I want to go through them real quick. Our gold sponsors are CoachNet, Guardian, or American Guardian Warranty. Our silver sponsors are CPG, Global Link, Samlex. Bronze is RV Pro, Dometic, Go Power, Winnebago, Girl Camper, CW RV Transport, and Togo. So because of them, we've raised a great, a good amount of money to really launch this and make it legitimate. We went 501c6 now, so we're an actual structured organization. We have a board of directors now, and we had our very first launch event in Salt Lake City, which we're kind of hoping, we're thinking, 50, 100 women would show up and men, and over 200 showed up. We were blown out of the water. We have about 250 members right now, and it's just amazing.
Now, I did notice, because I took some pictures off your Facebook page, that you went to the event early to check it out, apparently, to make sure that the beverages were okay.
Yes, and it's red.
It's red. It's red for you. And Linda says, I'm excited to have, I'll show you, Linda.
Yeah, Whitney.
Can you see the comments when I post them up there, Susan?
Oh, perfect.
Okay, guess who else joined? Speaking about RVIA, guess who else joined? Hello, Monica.
Monica, she is one of our board members. Hello, Monica. Fantastic.
That's right.
She also runs our marketing committee. So she's clear of that as well.
Is that other lady Whitney from KOA?
That other one is Jordan. She's my president and my mentee, actually. So we started a mentorship program, although we were kind of hooked up before that through Facebook. We just launched that this past week, where people who are looking to be mentors and to be mentored, all they have to do is go out to our Facebook page and sign on to that, and you're good to go. And we'll match you up, or you can match yourself up. And it's just been an incredible journey, because not only do we allow women, we allow men too, because we don't want an exclusive alliance. We want it to be inclusive. And because there's been many men in my life have been a huge influence on me. And there's a lot of men out there that really embrace women and what they do, not inappropriately. But we really wanted to make sure it was, it's a community, it's a village.
Hey, Susan, the fact that you come from a family business background, okay,
yes.
Even though most of the manufacturers, or the vast majority of the big ones, are big corporations, at least in New England, the vast majority of the dealerships are still family-run businesses. Bob and I were talking today. Some are in their 50th year and 60th year and in 25th and 30th year. Does your family business background, will that be a benefit to you in this, in being relatable to people that may join you from the dealership perspective?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was involved in the family business for over 28 years. So I come with a lot of knowledge in that background, and I can really relate to the dealerships out there that are family owned. So, we're trying to make sure we hit, membership is anybody involved in the RV community. It could be a dealership, it could be an OEM, and any facet of the OEMs. It could be campgrounds, it could be campground, clubs, anything that has to do with RV, we want you to be a part of this alliance.
You know, that brings up a good point. How do women and men? I'm a member, and I'm sure John will be joining too. And I commend you for having men in there, because we can learn from you also. This isn't, we don't have all the answers, and have been married for 50 years and with 2 daughters that are 41 and 37. I get my instructions from them. So I know where to go. But how do women get engaged with you? What's that, John?
He's not kidding.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. They're fantastic stories. All you have to do is go to www.rvwa.org. And right there, it's a very simple page right now because we're just literally getting this thing off the ground. But there's a join now button. You click that, you go out to the page, and you can join right there and then. It's free. It's for anybody.
That's great. Linda says she's drinking white.
White, red.
But she's getting back at me because she posted. Where is it? Let me see what she.
Apple juice, Bob. That's not apple juice.
Linda knows it's not apple juice too. So.
It's a Wednesday night tradition that it's Jack Daniel's night in New England.
That's right. We would change that to that. Michelle and Laurie have a question, and I think the answer to this is yes. Dawn Polk made it because she left our media lunch dinner meeting to go over there. So Dawn Polk from RV 101. Did you get a chance to meet her, Susan, when she was over there? She was at the reception.
I'm trying to remember. There were so many people there. It was great.
No, that's understandable. But she'll be a big supporter too. Her and her husband Mark own RV Education One, and they're a member of NERV. They do the DVDs and the books, and they get an online streaming. Which again, we can set you up for the affiliate stuff so that the women can take, especially if they just getting into the business. They can take online streaming courses on just about anything in the RV world that they just posted up there. So those are great.
And we love to have our members go to our Facebook or LinkedIn. We don't have Twitter yet, but we love for people to promote their businesses for stuff like that. We get a lot of questions. Can we post something? Absolutely. We're there to support and say, hey, yay. To anybody starting off a business or has a business that helps promote women in the industry. We love to see this stuff shared. So please go out there and post away. We love it.
I think it's appropriate to warn you right now with Dawn Polk. She will probably be the one that tries to initiate a vegetarian group within the Women RVer group because she's a devout vegetarian. And we do everything we can to show her pictures of prime rib, steak, and chicken wings that we eat when we're on the road.
Okay, that's right. She was at the Spay Clinic today, and they're back in Charlotte for that big car show. I was wondering when that was.
Racetrack.
Yeah. I have a good friend in Charlotte. Great city.
Yeah, Mark restores. He's restored a vintage Yellowstone trailer, and he's restored trucks and cars, and he's got a Dodge Power Wagon. So people like that embarrass us because I have all I can do to turn the key, start it up, drive it down the road, and I can't do anything else after that. So.
Susan, let's go back to the dealership side of the equation there for a second. We've got dealers here in New England where some of the top salespeople, or at least like a Patty at Flag, they're one of the top salespeople. So the days of only the men being able to sell and finding out about how big the trailer is, how big the wheels are, how big the engine has to be in a diesel or gas pickup truck, those days are gone too at the progressive dealerships. And I know Patty is, she does her thing when it comes to travel trailers, and not many people can beat her.
I think, women are great at sales. I got to admit. Especially if you're selling, if you ask me, you're selling a lifestyle now. You're not selling the nuts and bolts of an RV anymore. You're selling the experience and family and what you can do in an RV. And I think women are kind of, we're soft, as in, we get that touchy feeling
Yep.
about us, you know, where we're not looking under the hood of the engine to see what's in there, although I do love really fast cars. But we're actually enjoying selling the experience to other people and sharing that. And I think that that's really important. Men and women are built differently, but we complement each other 150%. I work with my husband on a daily basis where he's not very good, I am, and where I'm not very good, he is. So, you know, it's a perfect relationship.
It's a good point. And we tell that to our dealers all the time. We don't sell RVs, we sell the lifestyle. Yeah. And Linda Mill out there, Linda would, when Sean Seco, she still works there, is probably the top park model sales rep in the country. They've been Krupp Industries' #1 dealer for probably the last 5 years in the country, and they're in Saco, Maine. Park Models in Saco, Maine, and she does all the selling up there, and Michael does all the repairs. And I'd put her up against anybody in the RV industry when it comes to including the people that sell these things. And I've bought 3 park models from her, so I speak from experience there. But yeah,
that's great. So she needs to reach out to us because I just sat on her marketing call yesterday, and one of the things they want to do is start highlighting women's accomplishments in the RV industry. So she would be a perfect story of, you know, what you can do. We've had actually women that have signed up to be a member who want to sell RVs, and they're looking for mentors or people to show them the way to sell RVs as well. So that's kind of what this is all about, is connecting and networking and getting people connected with other people. So she would make a really great mentor for somebody who's looking to do something like that.
Yeah, she would, and she's been written up before, but yes, and I'm sure she will get involved. I just threw up your mentoring, and you touched on it, but touch on the mentoring program, because I've signed up for it, and you know, John's got a wealth of radio and TV experience that he could help people with presentations and stuff. But mentoring, that's a brilliant idea, and we ought to have more of it, because the whole point, none of us ever got there by ourselves. Somebody along the way helped us, and somebody taught us something, or you know, took us under their wing, or said, "Hey, stupid, you're doing it the wrong way, and you know, this is how you do it."
You still say that to us.
I've had that a couple times.
I've had many people say that to me, but Linda says she's joining as soon as this is over.
Yay! I'm so excited about that. Welcome. So yeah, I've always learned by my mistakes, I got to admit. But I think I didn't really have a lot of mentors when I was young or growing up through this industry. And it would have helped a lot, especially new people to the industry when they're looking to, you know, even if they're going to a trade show or starting a new job at an OEM or whatever, you know, just kind of understanding the industry or what have you. So mentoring is so important, because not only if you're mentoring, not only are you teaching somebody else, but you'd be amazed at how much they teach you too. And that's really kind of cool. I had somebody last week that says, I'm looking to mentor somebody that's just getting into the industry, but I'm kind of in the middle of my career. I'd like a mentor to take me further in my career. So it goes both ways. You can be mentor and mentee at the same time as well. So Facebook, and we didn't even realize this, came up with this program where all you do is go out to our Facebook page, you click the membership link, or the mentorship link, and then it links you there whether you want to be a mentor or a mentee, and you can actually do both. And then you just put a little bit about yourself in there, or you can look and scroll through the people that have already decided to be a mentor. Or if you're a mentor and you want to be, you know, mentee somebody, look through the people that are listed there and see if there's a match. You click on them, you start a conversation, voila, now you're coupled together.
Here's a nice little comment from Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. We certainly try to help people as they're coming along. And actually, but this was interesting because John introduced me to Michelle, and I forget how he met her, maybe at a seminar or something. Then I went to a seminar, loved what she was doing, and she really understood this Facebook stuff just as we were trying to get our social media stuff going for NERVDA. And then we were able to introduce her to Rolling On TV, and she's now the marketing communications director for Rolling On TV nationwide, and they go into millions of homes every week. And she just put another note up here. She said, Rolling on TV is always interested in female stories of RVers, their RV preferences, destinations, household chore delegations, etc. So that's another opportunity that when
Okay,
you're on
Bob.
the road, they would do that.
But we got to clarify something. Don't think it was all a compliment. When she said you were a huge mentor to me, she might have meant that you were grossly overweight.
Well, that's true. that is possible. All right, I've already missed. I made myself.
Great. Go ahead. You do yours, and I'll do mine.
You do yours while I get ready.
Okay. So, Susan, you can see we're not scripted. So
I love it.
Here's what we want to do. We want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. As you do every week, our studio audience is special, and it's because of folks like you that make our audience bigger each week. So if you would just look down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a button somewhere that says share. Share it with somebody you know that's into RVing. Share it with somebody you know that is thinking of RVing. Share it with somebody you know that doesn't even know much about RVing, but you think they'd have a good time with it. That allows us to reach 5 to 7 to 10,000 people per week with this show, and we can only do it because of you. And with that, here is Bob Zagami with our alternate sponsor.
This is our very first sponsorship plug we started this show in January of 2018. So for the next 9 weeks, we have a contest. You can win a $100 gift certificate. Our sponsor this week is Forest Marine and RV in Tingsboro, Mass. ForestRVs.com, and you can win the $100 gift ticket for the parts and accessory store or apply it to service. You will see the contest links further down on our Facebook page, or you can go to nervda.com/contest and enter there also. So enter up, and you enter every week. Every week it's a different contest. And as I said before, next week's contest is Cold Springs RV in Weir, New Hampshire. So that's our commercial stuff. Okay, so we get that out of the way. Thank you, Bruce.
Now,
Bruce and Derek.
Our regularly scheduled program with our guest, Susan Carpenter. Susan, I have a question for you.
Yes.
And I wrote this down just a few moments ago. As I mentioned to you earlier, many of our dealers in New England are into their second and third generation. And Bob, maybe you want to tell Susan about the young lady from from Arlington who became president. I mean, she passed last week. But talk about that story. And then I want Susan to discuss the fact that daughters growing up in the business can become presidents. You don't have to be, the presidency will go to your husband kind of thing, and you can, hang around the business. But talk about the Arlington story, Bob, and then Susan can.
Yeah, we did. That was one thing I forgot, and I apologize. We did lose Linda Taro from Arlington RV last week. And Linda grew up in the Moran family. Jack Moran, your dad, Susan, would have known Jack Moran. He was instrumental in starting the very first dealership group in New England. He passed away suddenly in an automobile accident in '92, and he's succeeded by his son, Steve. And Steve passed away of a heart attack about 10 years ago, and Linda took over the dealership. But we've got, just on the call tonight, we've got, like I say, Linda Mellott and Mike. They're co-partners in Seacoast RV till they sold it a couple weeks ago. But that was an equal partnership, as is Mark and Don Polk. And Don does a lot of the sales and marketing. Mark does a lot of the repairs and the videos, and he's the expert behind the scene. But we've got that all over New England. We got coming up, I mentioned Meckelson's RV. We got Connie Meckelson. Connie and Bruce run Meckelson's up in East Montpelier, Vermont. They're all over the place. And we got Longview RV that's 60 years old this year, and Fran and Shirley Roberts started that in 1959. In Hemlock is a family-run tradition down there in Connecticut. So yeah, so Michelle says you're bad, John. She says she met you at the first social media mastery tour.
No, actually, it was before that, because Jeannie Hebert introduced me to her, and then I met her, and then I brought Michelle to the Worcester Historical Museum to talk to the Convention Visitors Bureau. So that's great. But
so
Susan,
Mark Polk jumped in. He's all set up, and Marie Galante Moore joined us tonight. Hello, Marie. Glad to have you back. Go ahead. Another question, John.
No. I just wanted to give Susan the opportunity to talk about that women ascending to the throne and not necessarily being bypassed because of their gender.
So yeah, I was president of JR Products for, I'm trying to think, 6 years. So, I started off in the family business And if you're talking family business, a lot of people will understand this completely. As a kid, packaging products, I mean, at the lowest, part of the business whatsoever. And I worked my way up through the ranks and did just about absolutely. I think the only job I didn't do was purchasing, but I did accounting, I did marketing, I did sales, I did it all until I reached the very pinnacle of the top of the chain.
Yeah.
So it can be done, and I don't see why it can't. Family businesses are hard because, a lot of times birth order and stuff like that gets to play. I'm number 4 out of 5 that actually got to that position. And the only reason why I left that position is it was no longer a challenge to me. And Bob and I were talking about this the other day. I need big challenges, and otherwise I get bored. So I decided to take a leap of faith and sell off my shares of the company and go do something different. And I'm loving it. I mean, absolutely having a blast, doing something different and doing a bigger challenge.
So because you were the president, did that give you the guts to walk away and say, I'm going to start my own gig? Because a lot of times with a family business, you hang in there because that's what you were born into.
Yeah, it's your comfort zone. Absolutely. Oh, I can't tell you how long I stayed just because it was comfortable. It's what I knew. It's what I understood. But, got to the point that, I would get up every morning and go, I got to go in and I got to deal with this. And after a while, that just mentally takes such a toll on you. And then it's almost 3 years now that I got diagnosed with leukemia. And that in itself is a little bit of a eye opener of saying, hey, life is short. You really should take advantage of it. So that's when I started thinking maybe I should do something different. But it was extremely hard to walk away. It really was, especially when you're walking from safety and security to something completely unknown. And but at the same time, it was so exhilarating.
Well, that's what's so great. What's going to be so great about the mentoring program, because there are a lot of people that just like to help other people. It's not, the world isn't as bad as it's portrayed on television every night. There are a lot of good people here. And as Michelle mentioned here, she says, she's worked in the industry, and I have to say that most men in this industry are blind as to whether you're black or white or red or what your, sexual orientation is or what your, gender is. They don't care. That's got nothing. It's got nothing to do with it. It's how can we help make each other better? And I think part of that is because it's such a fun industry. We sell fun, and the people that we work with have fun. So if you tend to be a miserable person, this is probably not the best industry to be in.
It's too small of an industry. I mean, when you know who the miserable people out there are, because everybody knows everybody just about, at least in the aftermarket part. I was really surprised on the manufacturing part that there's still a lot of bias going on, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Hey, Susan, you brought up something very important, and I think it should be brought out. You said when you started in the business, you started at the lowest level, packaging, and then shipping, and then sales and PR and marketing, et cetera, et cetera. You worked your way up, and that's totally different than being born into the business and coming in as an executive vice president, as I say, if you've never cleaned the bathrooms. And those, I think, are when family businesses fall, because the second or third generation coming in hasn't paid the same price as the first.
Right. And that's very common. I'm glad I did it the way I did it, because by the time I reached president, I knew everything about the company. And you kind of need to know that as a president. So if something's failing or if something's going wrong, you've been in those shoes, so you're better equipped to be able to identify what needs to be fixed. So, if you're starting off really low, don't look at it that way. You really have to look at it as a positive outlook of saying, hey, but I'm learning all this, and that's only going to make me better. I love to learn, and I don't know everything, and I never will, but I hope I continue to learn day after day.
That's great. What advice, you mentioned some people have talked to you and they want to get into this business. This is a business that also does very well on networking. It seems that we all know a lot of people. So when somebody calls like that, what's the best advice that you can give them to break into this business?
You hit the nail on the head, networking. I mean, it really is important. If you have the opportunity to go something, even if it's outside your comfort zone, and to go to an event or go to a luncheon or what have you, you really have to take that opportunity, because networking for me in my career has been everything. Everything I get to do, even the RVWA, I would not be president of that today if I hadn't been networking with a bunch of people throughout the industry. And I didn't even know Liz. I think I only knew her for a year. So she was a new networking person for me. So, you just don't know where that person's going to come in your life and help you somewhere down the way. It's really important.
Not only do we have Linda, but now she says, and this is great, we got to get a few more like this. Not only is she joining, she's signing up the other women at work tomorrow. So
awesome.
she's going to get them all.
Excited.
So Susan,
it's all about community. And, one of the things I'd like to touch on is we might have had the kickoff event at Salt Lake City, but one of our long range goals, and they're going to come to fruition, is we want to have regional events. So I know Heather at PRVCA, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, yep. During their show, they want to do something with the RVWA. We have a couple dealerships that want to host something, and that's just bringing people, even if you have only 5 women that go to lunch with them. We have at the Elkhart Open House right now, it's not official, but Furion has verbally agreed to hosting an event there.
You've been to their building, right?
Huh?
You've been to that facility.
You know what? I've been outside. I've never been inside, so I'm super excited about that.
Outside, the inside, it's like a futuristic building.
It's a
helicopter inside.
That's what I heard. So I'm really excited about that. But so as people join, we have an events chair. Her name is Tracy Engelmeyer, and she is from Furion. And she's going to start working with people on doing events. And, if you're a dealership, or you don't even have to be a dealership, you can just be somebody that says, hey, I'm in Maine. I know 5 women. We're going to get together and do a lunch. And let's post this on Facebook that if anybody else wants to join us, they're more than welcome to join us. And that's where the networking starts. And that's why it's so important. You don't have to have a huge event. It could just be a couple women getting together, getting to know each other. And that's what we want to see happen down the road, is more and more people doing that.
Well, we like to be leaders. So I've already talking to Michelle Andro, and I sent you a note. We want to be the first group that does a reception for RVWA on a regional basis. So NERVDA is going to sponsor a group, and I'll work with Linda Mailhot, and I'll work with Michelle Andro, and we'll get the semantics of that. We'll get a couple of sponsors, and we may have to do 2 of them because we cover 6 states, so it's tough for people to get to them. But we'll do, and I know Heather would love to, and I'm sure she'll do a great job in September, but I'm not sure if she's on tonight, but I'm going to beat you, Heather, because we're going to be the first one.
That would be awesome. We'd be so excited. Make sure, you let us know. So if any of us can make the event, we would love to know.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. A member of your fan club just joined us, Susan. Oh, she's been on and she hasn't said anything yet, but Jordan just joined us.
So go, Susan. I'm proud to have you as our president and my mentor. That's Jordan. She is literally a rock star.
Wait a minute, she's the other one at the bar with you?
Yeah, she was the one at the bar with me. We were having before the Salt Lake City event.
They were testing.
Understand what we went through to get that, not only get RVWA launched, but get that event put together and to get the sponsorships and everything. Jordan and I were constantly, there she is, beautiful woman.
Okay.
The 2 of us were just working our butts off. So before the event, we're like, okay, we need to have a drink just to toast each other's success.
Liz Crawford told us that when you guys were planning this, that it was your determination that you had to go to 7 bars in Salt Lake City to test out the ambiance in the draft. Is that true?
I wish it was.
Hold on, I saw something. I don't know if anybody noticed it. But Jordan's picture, I think she's got balloons behind her that say 3-0. Is she only 30 years old?
She is only 30 years old.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
So, Bob, this kind of is like a double, a buy one, get one free. Not only are we getting women involved, but we're getting young people involved.
Right. Where do you see women with 30 on the balloon? What am I missing?
In her other picture there, in her profile picture.
Yeah, on her Facebook page, she just turned the big 3-0. Woo, Jordan.
Okay.
But
she's
yeah.
Younger than my younger daughter.
But you're right. So there again, getting the youth, involved is huge as well. Because us older people don't plan on doing it forever, although it seems like we're going to, but depends on which day.
In February.
But just yeah, let's just do this. Just turn 30 in February, she said.
Ask her if it was February 2nd, but anyway, she can post if it was February 2nd. That's another daughter's birthday. Yeah. So at the event itself, we were across the street. What was it? Whiskey Station. Whiskey Station. We parked in the same parking lot as you guys. If we went left, we would have gone in yours, but we went to another one. How long did you said you had more people than you expected? Was there a din of what do you call it, conversation, so that you had to yell to be heard? I mean, what were people? They weren't. I'm guessing these people were not standing in the corner eating celery sticks.
No, it was very loud, and it's so funny because there's some other great people that showed up. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a malfunction with our microphone, and so we didn't have a microphone that night. And we were going to have Deborah Gardner speak. She was. And unfortunately, we couldn't have her speak because she's speaking the next day, and she didn't want to wear out her voice. Jordan and I, though, stood on chairs and literally screamed across the heads of people, welcoming them and, trying to get our point across anyways. But the good news is Deborah is going to do a webcast for us. So we get to see her speech after all. It's going to be posted on Facebook somewhere along the way. And it was... I think it was called 10 things that women have to stop doing to further their career, something like that. Jordan probably will go on there. There's my husband saying, "Awesome job, Sue." So
I think that's Jeff Hirsch right in the middle of the picture. Jeff Hirsch, the CEO of Campers.
Yep. In the back row there.
Yeah, that's Jeff over there. He was
look close. You zoom in. I see Dawn eating chicken wings. Dawn. You sneak.
But I'm disappointed you guys didn't come. You would have crossed.
You froze up a little bit, Susan. I hope we get you back. Can you hear, John? Are you frozen too?
No. Many are cold, but few are frozen.
Okay. Yeah. So if you can still hear me, Susan, you're frozen on the camera. So we'll do that. So Linda says. Linda is sharp tonight. I don't know what she's.
No, if you listen to the tape,
she's really sharp.
If you listen to the tape, she really said we had a malfunction with the with the microphone.
And Dawn did not have chicken wings. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. We'll get her back. She's back.
She'll be back. She's having such a good time. She'll be back.
There you go. There you're back. All right.
I'm not sure what happened, but that's okay. Technical difficulties.
Hey, Bob, do your
Linda's only 42 in February. Wow.
And Monica just said it's 10 things women must give up to be successful. Thank you, Monica. I knew I wouldn't remember it. So that's what Deborah Gardner is going to do, a webcast for us. And we're going to put it on Facebook. So people get to see it after all.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, Bob, time. Let's
do it. Let me do another quick commercial. You do yours while I load up the other one. Yeah.
Folks, it's a 40-minute mark, and what we always like to do to remind people that may have joined us late is to look down at the bottom of their screen and hit that share button, because that is what allows us to reach thousands more people each week. The vast majority of people look at this on replay. They don't watch it live because they're, depending upon where they are, they're working or they're on their way home from work or whatever the case. But share. and we will be able to reach thousands of people, especially an important topic like this. And we just ask you to share, and I know you'll enjoy it. And Bob, I know you want to talk about our friends at Forest Marine and RV.
I do, but let's give a challenge for all the women out there. The most successful show that we have had so far is Don Clark, the CEO of Grand Design, and he's up to almost 11,000 views. A couple of months ago, we had Toby O'Rourke. Just after she was appointed CEO, she was president, CEO of KOA. Toby does a great job, had an incredible presentation at RVX, and she's up to about 7,000. So the challenge for everybody on tonight is to share this so much that Susan tops Don Clark at Grand Design. Right?
We can do it.
That's the challenge. Share this as much as you can, as often as you can, because I want to be able to call up Don and say, Don, you're in second place.
And we want that to happen.
He's been in first place for about a year, so we got to change that. So let me do my commercial.
A phenomenal interview with Don Clark at RVX, only to find out that it disappeared into Facebook limbo. It was the day that Facebook went cuckoo. We thought it was just us, and then we're talking to Kevin Broom and talking to all the other people at RVIA press room, and they said Facebook is dead for the day. So
the whole thing. It was Academy Award. It was Academy Award winning material, and we lost it. We were laughing so much, it was crazy. So, anyways, this week, as in the next 8 weeks, we will have a contest on our Nerve to Facebook page. It's nervedus.com/contest, and the Facebook page, you can see the link to the contest. Our sponsor this week is Forest Marine and RV in Tingsboro, Massachusetts. Derek Flanders, Bruce Flanders, Julie Palazzo, Russ, the whole gang up there that do a tremendous job. Jayco is, Forest Marine is a Jayco only exclusive dealer for the last 50 years. The only thing this dealership has sold in the last 50 years is a Jayco product. And they've got a tremendous following, so you can visit them at forestrvs.com, say hello to them, and you will win. If you win the contest, you'll have a $100 gift certificate to spend in this parts and accessory store, or apply it towards service or getting your unit ready for the spring camping season.
Okay, Bob, I think it's important to bring this point up right now. You mentioned those three people at Forest, and Bruce is the older guy, Derek is the kid, but the brains of the organization. When you watch the sales process going on at shows, Julie's really the smarter than both of those two guys combined.
She is, and behind the scenes is Bruce's wife, Susan, who doesn't get half as much credit as she should, because she keeps Bruce in line and Derek is the son, so she keeps them in line. But that's right, Julie sets the stage for what goes on in the dealership and at the shows. Yeah. That's why I waited 40 minutes for her the other day to do the video. Yeah. Could have done it with somebody else, but she wouldn't let me.
Hey, I just would have done it with me in it, like I did with another dealership 2 days ago.
They were too busy to do it.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Inside joke, Susan. Inside joke.
I love Two Gals' comment there, and I would love to see Rolling on TV help us out in any way. Just tell her, private message me on our Facebook page, and I'll give her my email address. Anybody who wants to get involved.
We talk 3 or 4 times. I'll make sure she has it. We talk 3 or 4 times a day sometimes.
Oh, great.
Now we're into the contest period, but yeah, they do a great job, and it's shown all over the country and probably all over the world. In fact, you can see all the archive shows on their website, rollingontv.com. Yeah.
Hey, Bob, we've been asking Susan all the questions, but why don't we do this? Let's give her a minute to make her own pitch to people out there as to why they should join her organization. And I should say, I'm sure she would call it her organization, but join
or ask a question that they can answer for us down below. So the stage is yours, Susan. Go ahead.
Oh boy, pressure there. RVWA is, I think it's important for people to join, men and women, only because I think it was joined to support each other, encourage each other, help each other, rise, let us all rise together. I think there's not enough patting on the backs and celebrating some of the things that we actually do accomplish. And I think it's our time to do that. And so we want, for all of us together to celebrate and empower one another. I think too often we get away from that, and together we are much stronger than we are separate. And just being able to having somebody to talk to. I said this once before, I didn't have really any mentorship growing up into this industry or working through this industry. And so, I would stumble and fall a lot of times, and I'd have to wipe off my knees and get up and do it again. And it made me where I am today, where I'm very happy. But somewhere along the way, it would have been nice to actually call somebody or have somebody or a Facebook chat or something, say, hey, I'm running into this problem. Can you help me out? Has anybody else experienced that? And that helps. It's huge. And so, come on, ladies, we can do this. We can get together. We can empower one another and have a hell of a good time doing it. That's really, to me, that's important. I want to, have that glass of red wine and chat over a dinner table or a networking session and laugh and just enjoy life.
And Susan, I'm sure that you'd be the first to say, this is not a I'm mad at men meeting, so they can all go to hell. This is not anything
we
like
had it called the Me Too movement and the Male Hating Club, and so many silly names. And it's so not like that, because I love the men that have, the men that have joined. I love them. There's a lot of men out there that are fantastic. My husband's one of them. They'll be the first one to champion women because they know how important they are and the skill sets they bring. So it's definitely not that. We're not out to bash each other or bash men. It's not to complain about, those men in our life. It's about just empowering one another and giving us support.
Well, it's so important on that aspect of it, because one of the things, and I think we'll all agree, that one of the weak spots in this industry, I noticed that Mike Perry joined, and Mike's a big member of our association with Dealer Resources Group, and he's on the road all the time. I forget where he is. I think he's in Buffalo this week, but he's on the road talking to us. But one of the things that we still don't do enough of is educating the consumers. Every time when I do seminars at the show, John talks about this, and Don and Mark will say the same thing. It is unfortunate the number of people, when they get to a seminar that's conducted the right way and they get the information that they should have had before they purchased an RV, and they say, I didn't know about that. So how can RVWA help in that regard? We still need to do a better job educating people before they buy their first RV. It's terrible when we get people and say, well, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that, I didn't know I'm overweight. We still don't spend enough. Education is something that's my passion. Talk to that a little bit, Susan.
Oh, that's hard. How RVWA. I mean, that's I see it out. I call on dealers, and I know a lot of RV owners, obviously, and that is a huge problem out there right now of just not getting the right information at the time of purchase. And I think with one of the things you pointed out earlier, there's a lot more women RVing on their own too. So I think we should be able to at least reach that segment, working along with state associations like yourself and RVIA and RVDA, and getting information out there, and maybe doing seminars to not just women, but just couples, men, whoever. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think a lot of the associations out there have been trying to tackle this for quite a while. And I think they're finally realizing through data, statistics, and stuff like that, that this is a bigger problem than we thought. So I think if we align each other and group together and tackle it together, we'll be a lot better off.
Well, speaking about that, there are a lot of women's groups. So you got Sisters on the Fly. You've got Janine Pettit with Girl Camp. I just put up Janine Pettit there with Girl Camping. And Janine does a phenomenal job working with dealers, and I hope to bring her into New England because she's an ambassador for Little Guy Trailers, and we have 2 or 3 dealers in New England to sell that product. But she does her Girl Camping University, where they go to the dealership and they invite women in, and she teaches them everything from hitching and unhitching to empty to holding tanks and everything else. So yeah. She was out there early on. And then do you plan on approaching these groups that have single, there's women RVing? can they be chapters of your association, or can they just be members?
In fact, we've gotten a couple people that reached out and said there are other women associations, and we love collaborative conversations and coming together. I think, as I said before, together we conquer. So other women's associations, I think we all could get together and share experiences, share information. I think that'd be a wonderful idea. And, educating women on these RVs, I think it's very intimidating, just kind of like maybe 20 years ago, probably not even that long, when women started going out and buying their own cars. They were very intimidated because the men kind of treated them differently, like they didn't know anything. Well, the automotive industry is all of a sudden realized and changed around. There's no reason why we can't do that as well, and let women know that, and educate them that when they go to buy an RV, it's more than just the aesthetics of the RV. Obviously, it's the holding tank, it's the gross weight, it's all that kind of stuff. And I think that's easily to do, but I think sometimes it gets overpowering for them when you're put in that situation. So maybe educating in a different aspect where they feel comfortable learning.
Mm. Hey, Bob, there's two things I want to bring up that were just brought up in these last comments that you said. And one of them I've totally forgotten already. But Bob, if you can click
it's past his bedtime. Which one?
Under comments, click on Jordan. The one about having business relationships.
Yep.
Okay, see that 30 behind her, Bob? You see that in the picture right next to her name? Okay. For a person like her at 30 years old to realize having business relationships is important, really sets her apart from the crowd, because of the fact that, you see the guys golfing all the time and, all that stuff there, but relationships, not just women to women, but women to men within the industry, is absolutely vital. And for somebody at just 30 years old to realize that it's not necessarily the product that you represent, but it's the person that you represent. And if there are other people that like you and meet you and trust you in a social situation, maybe in a business situation, that is going to lead to a merger or an acquisition. Because look at Elkhart. Susan had said it's a small community. It is. Look at this RV world where somebody gets fired from one company because of one thing or another, but they get picked up by somebody else because they played golf with him or her, right? We say that all the time. These people bounce from company to company.
So true. It's that networking. I mean, right there. And you're absolutely right. And Jordan is so smart. I love having her. I wasn't stupid when, I turned to her during our meeting and I said, and you're going to be our vice president.
Where does she work?
Amazing. She works for RV Pro.
RV Pro magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark just put up an interesting thing. Mark just did a podcast with Janine today, and they're going to do some work with Janine and film some educational videos for girl campers. And we extended the invitation to have her come up and do some of the girl camper universities up here also.
She's a brand sponsor of ours too.
Yep.
So and I did get to meet her. She's fantastic. So I think together, everybody getting together and talking about these things and noticing what's missing and what we can do to help and fix, and
I just remember.
That's a good comment.
I just remember my second great comment was when I was at the Winnebago National Rally last year at Forest City, Iowa. They have a week-long event with seminars, etc. But the one that they have to repeat 4 times during the week is women RVers. And it's not necessarily just women RVing by themselves, but some of them, want to learn how to do stuff because their husbands don't want to, that still travel with husbands, etc., but want to learn how to. It was a driving course. And they said it's good, not because if you want to drive, because there might be times that you have to drive.
Absolutely.
Bob can tell you a story where his wife was thrown into emergency action, but they couldn't get that lady back this year, so they had repeated. They taped it, and it had 4 standing room only audiences of about 150 people.
Oh, I bet. I got to admit, I grew up owning RVs, and the last one my husband and I owned was a 40-foot fifth wheel, so it was very intimidating.
Yeah.
But I did get out and drive it very slowly, but I did drive it. But I knew how to do everything in that RV. I even knew how to drain the black water, although I must point out I never did actually do it.
Oh.
My husband to do, I got to admit. It's probably bad, but if I had to, I could have done it.
My wife's never done it either. So Mike's going on 37 years and he's seen a lot of changes. I bet he has.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, we're coming right up to an hour, and we try to stick to an hour, but if there's some more questions out there, if you can stay for another 5 minutes, we'll take them. If not, we can wrap
She
up.
can stay for another hour because she's in Central Time Zone.
That's right.
Yeah, but maybe she hasn't had dinner yet either, John. She's been out on the road talking to dealers all day. She's probably hungry.
Where are you going to eat?
The hotel lobbies of these hotels are great. I just picked up like a lean cuisine, threw it in the freezer, and I thought, okay, I'll just microwave it later.
I hear they have free chicken wings down there. Dawn Polk has inspired them to have chicken wings between 6 and 7 at no cost.
Do they have vegetarian lean cuisines?
That's a good question. I don't know. I eat meat.
I'll bet Dawn would know. She would know everything when it comes to that.
And Maria just commented that she wants to drive her new Prevost, and I think she should. Why not? That's what it's for, you know?
Absolutely. You should definitely. In fact, you know what, Maria? If you go to thegadgetguru.com, Andy Parr used to be on TV. He's a good friend of ours. I don't see him joining tonight, but Andy Parr has a 6-part series on his website, and it's all about learning to drive the Prevost and maintenance on the Prevost and everything under the sun. But
spell his name because it doesn't sound like it's spelled.
Yeah, let me do it. Yeah.
And just take it out in the parking lot at first if she feels too uncomfortable with it. That's what I did with the fifth wheel. We went around in the parking lot until I felt good enough for it.
Let me clarify one thing. I think you meant to say take it out in an empty parking lot.
Yeah, if that's not it, try the Gadget Guru. I'm pretty sure it's gadgetguru.com, and it is
empty parking lot.
You need a big one. If you got a Prevost, you're gonna need a big one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of malls that are empty now.
They're open 7 days a week. Remember, it used to be that on Sundays when stores were closed, that's where you went to learn how to drive in the parking lot. Now, Sunday's the big day.
It's where I learned how to drive standard.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that way if you stalled it out, it wasn't quite embarrassing if you're sitting at a red light, or a green light trying to get it into gear.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that.
Maria, just Google Andy Park. He was on the Today Show.
Maria, I will post that. One of the things that we do, Susan, we always ask people, but Maria, I will post the Andy Parr links and the Gadget Guru link so that you can check out his Prevost. Another one here. Don, they have a video driving course on. I think that's on. Yeah, I'm sure it's on their online streaming training service. So that's RV Education 101, which you will want to do.
Dawn,
they are on our site too.
Dawn, just type in what you used to do for work before you met Mark, and that will blow a lot of stereotypes right out of the water. Dawn Polk, type in what you used to do. And
I'll tell her. She's probably busy. She's probably busy eating vegetables. She had her CDL license. She used to drive 18-wheel trailer trucks, Susan.
Wow, I'm impressed. She's my hero.
And that's why you want her in RVWA.
Exactly. I wouldn't have the guts to do that, to tell you the honest God's truth. So she's definitely my hero. I couldn't do it.
I'm sure she'd be willing to start the vegetarian group within RVWA.
I already brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, she's probably already emailed her. Check your email. It's probably got pictures of carrots and broccoli and stuff in it.
Exactly. And then Jordan asked, I guess, what advice would I give to anybody who's nervous about joining RVWA? It's free. It's no pressure. it's you can participate as much as you actually want to participate. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. And my favorite quote is, everything you ever wanted in life is just sitting outside your comfort zone.
Yep.
And it's actually pretty true.
Okay, I don't know where John went. He may have run out of quarters in his computer. I have no. I know. Oh, here he's coming back. Here he comes. So 1, 2, 3. John, did you run out of quarters? I thought you ran out of quarters and just left us.
No, I said vegetarian too many times, and Dawn sabotaged.
Dawn cut you off. All right. Well, look at we could probably talk for another couple hours, but I want to thank you very much. We try to keep it to an hour just to be respectful that our viewers. We've had so many times. We're already up to 91 comments, so we're off to a really good start. But Susan,
92.
I want to thank you very much for joining us. Delighted to hear about RVWA, and as I said, I'll be there. Whatever you need, NERVDR and our dealers, and anything we can help you with.
Linda wrote.
Huh?
Look what Linda wrote.
Linda, let me see.
Oh, wine time! Yes.
We can do 2 of those. We can have a red chapter and a white chapter.
I love that. I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. And Mike, here, I should say this. When Mike says see you next week, he means it literally. Mike is our guest. Mike is our guest next week. He always has one of the top rated shows because he comes on 2 or 3 times a year, usually in the spring and the winter. But Mike's next week is going to talk about all the new gadgets that he found at NTV Stag and all the shows. So all the new toys that our RVers want to have for the spring. Mike is going to be on next week talking about all of those. So
right. But make sure that Mike joins us at 7 o'clock instead of 10 of 8 like he's done the last 2 weeks.
Well, but he's on the road. He's working.
Well, that's all right. I mean, we're more important than his work.
Yeah, I know. We should have a little bit higher priority in his life.
He joined us late last week, and all the other audience members were saying, "Where you been?"
Well, Rick Kessler joined us last week.
He's having red wine.
Okay, yeah. It was Rick. That's what it was. Sorry, Mike.
Rick. Yeah, and now he's not even here tonight. He joined late last week, and he doesn't show up this week.
It was wine time.
He's on probation.
Any closing statements, John, before we give Susan the last word?
We want to say, thank you, Susan, for being a good sport and joining us and providing a lively show. And we look forward to having you back. And you know what? You got to get on Interstate 90, head east for 1,000 miles. You'll come to New England, take a left, and you go to Maine. And they have real Maine lobster, not Indiana lobster there.
I have camped and RV'd in the New England area very often. Absolutely love it. Some of my best camping was in New England.
Great. Then when we do our regional meeting for RVWA, we'll have to see if we can make it coincide with your schedule and have you come up and speak to the group. How's that? Fair enough? Any last words, Susan? I think she froze.
No, she didn't freeze.
Oh, can you hear me?
You're back again.
Yeah,
I no longer see Bob.
Okay.
Can you hear him?
All right.
No, I didn't.
I'll give you the last word, Susan. You can say goodnight for us. How's that?
No.
Go ahead, John. Close it out, John.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So, Susan, I'll say what Bob said. He said, we'll give you 30 seconds for a wrap-up word.
Oh, wow. I can't come up with one, but
okay, that's fine.
Hey, join RVWA. It will be the best thing you've ever done for your career because I believe in everybody, and I just think it's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have red and white wine. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And
the other thing Susan said was this is probably the best show she's ever been on.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
guys. Good night.
Thank you so much. See you all next week with the Mike Perry Show.